If you clicked on this video, you probably want books to read in one sitting. What a coincidence! I'm gonna talk about them. Today I'll be sharing my top 5 random books that I think you can finish in a day. There's literally so many I can make out of these because I have so many for each genre. If you like this video later, let me know and I'll make more. But let's get into it. Oh, and before I get into the first video, I will be measuring each book. Basically I will be measuring each book by coffee cups. Like, how many cups of coffee will it probably take you to finish this book? Does that make sense? It makes sense to me, so that's the measurement system we're going to use. So the first book I have, everyone knows about it. You probably know about it. It is The Silent Patient. This has around 300 pages, and honestly, I still believe you can do it. This book is basically about Alicia, who shot her husband 5 times in the head, and now she is in a mental institution, and there's this one, what is he called? I guess psychologist, who really wants to help her. So that is what the book is about. And the reason I say you can still finish this in one day is because, first of all, I loved the topic of this, because trust me, at the end you will be like, oh. And I love a book that gives me vibes. And the first line says in the book, "But why does she not speak? Euripides Alcestis." Who is that? Probably a scientist, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I love this book so much, I think I will actually buy another book from this author. Only she knows what happened. Only I can make her speak. Each chapter is a hook. In the beginning, it is tad bit slow, like 2% slow, because you're getting to know everything. But trust me, after a few pages, it's like like that. Like, you can actually finish this in a day. For anyone also who's looking to get out of a reading slump, definitely one of those books. Sometimes it is a bit vivid with the things that happen, the murder, shall I say. So it did have me slightly traumatized. So if you are someone like me, probably read the trigger warnings. Did I? No, I did not, but you should. And how many cups of coffee will it take you to finish this book? I would probably say 2 cups. Let's move on to the next one. So the next book I have is Nora Goes Off Script. So this book is basically about Nora. Shocker. Her husband basically walked away from her and her kids, and now she is basically writing a whole script on her life. What happened to me there? I'm sad for her life. And in comes superstar Leo. He is Hollywood star. He is playing the girl, she's a lady. The woman's wife. The woman's ex-husband in her play or show. Oh my god, what is wrong with me? Let me tell you something. I finished this book in one day. It's also not that big. Around 240, 250 pages. But also it doesn't look like it, doesn't it? Because this is, maybe it does. I finished this in one day, okay? First of all, I liked it because cover, very pretty. Also the story, I love the story because I was reading this book from another perspective of a married woman, divorced woman, finding love, joy in her life, separate from her kids, and that was really lovely to read. Honestly, kind of don't remember what happened in this. Also, the chapters aren't that long, around 3 to 4 pages, sometimes just 3. I think that just makes it much faster and easier to read as well. If you love a book with kids in it, you will probably love this book because there are 2 adorable children in this. And I actually have surprisingly never read a book with kid dialogue, like so much in the book that it's the main focus of the book. So that was really refreshing for me, and I don't know, I just really liked it. And this one will probably only take you 1 cup of coffee to finish. The next book is They Both Die at the End. So basically in this world, what is this world? In this world, basically there's a company called Last Friend Inc. No, there's not. So basically in this world, before you're about to die, someone, well, like this company will call you and be like, in the next 24 hours you are going to die. So like, live your life to the fullest, okay? Yeah, and the title, that is exact, yeah. And so this book basically follows 2 boys, Mateo and Rufus. I still remember their names. They're still here. And basically both of these boys are from different parts of this life, and they both get the call that they both are about to die on the same day. And through this app called Last Friend Inc., they find each other. Basically it's giving each other companionship before you die, and that's how they meet. And that is what the book is about, like how they spend their last 24 hours together fulfilling their lives. I have so much to say about this book. First of all, absolutely love it, still remember it, engraved in my brain. These many pages was not enough for this story, for these 2 boys. And I know you may be thinking that is like a normal sized thick book. Why do I still think that you can read this fast? Is because the topic, if you are someone who is in need of motivation in life, even though this is a little bit of a sadder book, this will definitely get you out of your kind of negative thinking in a fun and fiction way, because that's how it definitely helped me. I was going through a really rough time when I read this book, and it really brought me a new perspective to life. And honestly, the second I finished this book, or like even in the middle of the book, I would close it and I would be like, I'm gonna live today to my fullest. And that is exactly what I did. And now I'm kind of going back into the hole, so I should probably read this book again. Just a testimonial how this book affected me, like really a lot. That is the reason why I think you can read this fast, is because you are just curious, first of all, how are they gonna die? Second of all, if they are gonna live. The topic in itself is very fascinating, that you get to know when you're about to die, so you have all those hours to do whatever you want to do. Honestly, it's just a wonderful book, and I honestly think you can finish this in like 2 days if you really like lean into it. Maybe even 1. Like, I'm telling you, it's that good. And how many cups would it take you to finish this? Honestly, I think it would take you 1.5 cups. I was gonna say 1, but I think 1.5 is good enough. But I really like this book. Honestly, wish there was a part 2. Maybe I could meet them in heaven or something. Anyways, next book. So the next book we have is a bit off season, but it is spectacular. And I mean, look at it. It is so tiny. And did you see glimpses of that? It has pictures. I'm sorry, pictures in a grown-up book? Like, when I was young, one reason I was so afraid of reading adult books that I was like, it's not gonna have pictures. How am I gonna know what is happening in the book? I am back at my childhood core. So this is basically a novella of the Carval series, and if you haven't read the series, you probably will not care about this. But if you have a Kindle and you have this somehow on your Kindle or something, I don't know, read it. Like, really read it, because I mean, the way this book is written, no matter what book you pick up, you will understand somewhat what is happening. And because it is a novella, it's just like all fun and games. I really enjoyed this book, and I finished this in, I think, 2 days. And the reason I think you can finish this fast, first of all, short. Second of all, pictures, lots of pictures. It's like a children's book, but for adults. Like, look at that. Like, I would just spend total like solid 5 minutes opening and just staring at the art, because it is so good. And it will really get you in the holiday season if you are missing that this February. Also, Valentine's Day, love is in the air, read it. And this would definitely take you not even 1 cup, half a cup to finish this book. Like, I was surprised when I finished this book. I was like, how am I already done? And for the final book, this is a really short video. The final book is The Housemaid. I'm sure you've seen this book everywhere. If you haven't, you probably don't have TikTok. And honestly, that's probably for the good. But this book is basically about Millie. This book is about Millie, who is a housemaid, and she goes into this new house, very rich house. She's working there. But then suddenly she notices the wife who lives in this house is lying about things she's done for her daughter, makes unnecessary mess just so Millie has to clean it. And she's kind of freaky, like, what is up with her? But one day she goes into her room up in the attic, you know, she's like, oh, la 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 la, I'll drink some water or whatever. She goes to the door to leave. The door doesn't open. The door is closed. And that is what the book is about. She's watching from behind the doors. Absolutely loved it. Best book from the whole series. This book has 3 series, so if you really like this, read all of that. Very well written. It is actually like it goes whoop, 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 whoop. That is how it goes. And the reason I think you can finish this in 1 day, probably half a day, first of all, is because of the plot. It is written so well. It is so fast paced. Also another book that will get you out of a reading slump. And there are so many stakes in this book. It is actually like plot heavy. Well, not heavy. It's just like perfectly plotted. Honestly, also very graphic. I would also suggest, if you are someone who is a bit, maybe read the trigger warning. Like with this book and A Silent Patient, I had to close it and actually just like take a breather, because I was like, also I was having nightmares. But also, like, if I don't have nightmares because of the book, is the book even good? Oh my god, it was written so good, so good. Short chapters, sometimes 2 pages, 3 pages, but there's also medium chapters as well. And I found this really interesting because I was like, ooh, who locked her? Who was it? Which one is the crazy one? And that, honestly, that was just a fun cycle to play. I loved it. And this one, I would say you just need 1 cup of coffee to finish this book. The plot is that good. The way it is written is that good. And also there's more books, so incentive. So pretty quickly, these are all the books I think you can finish in 1 sitting, and I actually mean it. Even though this book is the thickest out of all of them, I still feel like you could finish this in 1 sitting if you are that type of reader. I have so many more recs, so if you would like, comment. I hope one of these books gave you inspiration to read one of these books. Wow. Make sure to follow me on all my socials to stay tuned with me over there, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.